All right, folks, if you can grab a seat, we're going to close out and let y'all get back to your day.
Oh, man. Where are all the beautiful faces?
All right, Craig. Let me just karate chop that.
You good?
Yeah. Just going to leave that all right.
All right. Before I say anything else this afternoon, I want to take a moment just to look around the room. Because what I see here is more than just a group of professionals and a group of advocates. I see more than just a community, I see a family. These are my people. And I couldn't be more proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with each and every single one of you. So when 2 weeks ago, Jeanette reached out to me and asked Ivy and I if we'd be willing to close out today, I'll be honest, my initial reaction wasn't like, oh, I'm nervous, or how am I going to fit something else on my plate? It was that this is an honor. It's an honor to stand here and try to say, to motivate and to inspire the individuals that motivate and inspire me. And this is an opportunity to stand up here and do that, and I'm extremely appreciative. Before I continue on with this, Jeanette, will you stand up, please? I do think that we should all give her a round of applause for what she's put on today. You've done a fantastic job, and thank you for your hard work. So let me see where I left off. Okay. So something we all know, we know that this work is not easy. We know it often asks more of us than what most people will ever understand. The long days, the hard conversations, the heartbreak you carry, and the victories that too often go unseen. But please hear this clearly. What you do matters. Because of you, children across Idaho are safer, more supported, and more seen than ever. I'm often asked why I got involved and why I do this work, and for me, the answer has always been simple. So not one more child feels afraid or alone in this world. So not one more child is made to feel invisible or insignificant. So not one more child grows up without knowing what it means to simply be a child. Not one more child. And I know that's possible because of who I see in this room right now and what I see happening across Idaho. Across this state, youth advocates, foster families, adoptive parents, caseworkers, and community leaders are not just identifying problems, you're stepping forward with solutions. You're drafting legislation, you're showing up to work groups, you're stepping into conversations that once happened without you. You're raising your voices, and they are being heard. We are seeing new faces enter this work. We are seeing leaders who have never engaged in foster care lean in and ask, how can I help? How can I be a part of the solution? Momentum is building, and every person in this room is part of that movement. Now, let me say something else out loud. The barriers are real. The strain is real. The hardships feel bigger than the wins, but still, you all show up. Still, you all push forward. And still, you all refuse to accept good enough for our children. And that does not happen by accident, because when adversity met this community, we did not get quieter. We got louder, we got stronger, and we stood taller. The culture we are experiencing right now in Idaho around foster care exists because of what we built. We built it with courage, persistence, and the unwavering belief that every child deserves safety, belonging, and hope. What Idaho has right now is very unique, not because the challenges are gone, but because this community refuses to be defined by them. We are not standing still. We are shaping what foster care looks like. This room is the tip of the spear, and children across this state are safer because of each and every one of you. And while the momentum we're building in Idaho is powerful, it isn't confined to our state. What is being built here is shaping conversations across this country about the future of foster care. One of the many leaders helping drive that work is someone I'm honored to stand alongside, someone who is bringing the strength and perspective of this community into rooms where decisions are being made, making sure Idaho is not just represented, but we are being heard. She's going to share what she has seen across the country, what it means for the work ahead, and where we go from here. Ivy?
Thank you, Craig, and you're absolutely right. What's happening here in Idaho is powerful. And I want everyone in this room to hear me very clearly when I say people in Washington, D.C. are prioritizing supporting foster youth across the country. We have shaped these conversations. In the last year, I've participated in a Senate caucus on foster care, a national roundtable with Deputy Director Monty and Assistant Secretary Alex Adams at HHS and the First Lady's office, and meetings with partners all across the nation. And Idaho keeps coming up. And not because we all have got it all figured out, but because our people refuse to stop improving it. We're building a foster care system that's shaped with the families and with the community, but so rarely is it with the youth. In Idaho, youth aren't being embraced by the system, we aren't being handed microphones, and we aren't being welcomed into policymaking. In fact, it's the opposite. Youth are now being shut out more than ever. The Idaho Foster Youth Advisory Board, once a place for young people to speak truth to power, dissolved a few years ago. And yet, youth haven't stopped. We've gotten louder, more determined, and more unwilling to accept that this is just how the system works. Because we deserve better, and because kids shouldn't need courage just to survive their childhood. And lawmakers are noticing that change. They're noticing the fire that Idaho youth are bringing, and we're naming the patterns that have been long ignored, increasing the dangerous trend of prioritizing parental rights over the safety of children. Thanks. In Washington, D.C., people are finally having conversations about foster youth that were long swept under rugs for decades. They're talking about lived experience, about accountability, and about child safety and what youth-centered systems should look like. And that shift, that national reckoning, has Idaho's youth's fingerprints all over it. But I want you to understand why this moment, this national recognition, means so much to me personally. Before I was ever a policy associate, before I stepped into rooms in DC, I was a 13-year-old Idaho kid in the foster care system for the first time. I lived in 5 different foster homes, and including 2 years in a youth homeless shelter that was only supposed to last a few weeks. And even there, in a place that was meant to stabilize me, I learned what so many foster youth have to learn pretty early on, that adults often make decisions about you, around you, and above you, and never with you. But in that group home, something happened that changed my life. I found my voice. The Idaho Foster Youth Advisory Board had just created the Idaho Foster Youth Bill of Rights. It was a list of my rights. And for the first time, I had seen in writing that I was allowed to speak up, and I didn't just have to accept whatever the adults around me had decided, and especially the decisions that had hurt me. I had the right to participate in my own case planning, to maintain connections, and to build a future. And that small sheet of paper did something that years of instability never could. It reminded me I was still a person, and I used it. I used it when a foster parent refused to take me to a doctor and insisted on natural remedies when I had strep throat. I used it. And when I was blocked from doing activities like working or accessing the community in ways that normal teens would, I used it to fight for transportation, to stay in my drama club, to work as a ski instructor, a lifeguard, a daycare attendant, to build something that felt like a life. And for the first time, adults couldn't just tell me no. I had something to point to, and I had a voice that didn't waver. By 17, I had fought to go to college and just moved into the dorms at Boise State and was notified by the court that the dorms weren't a licensed foster home placement. My foster parent wasn't able to drive me to classes every day. She had other youth in the home, which meant my scholarships, my dreams, and my future was all one court order away from slipping through my fingers. But my caseworker and several of my trusted adults didn't let me give up. They went to court with me, and they stood beside me, and 6 hours later, we won. And that ruling didn't just change my life, but it set a precedent for every foster youth who comes after me. And at 21, I had gotten to graduate with 2 bachelor's degrees, and by 24, I graduated with my master's. But I didn't succeed because the system worked. I succeeded because I learned how to fight, because the system forced me to. And that's the reality for too many kids right now. It's not empowerment, it's survival. It's not inclusion, it's resistance. And it's not support, rather it's self-advocacy born out of necessity. And today, I stand here not just as someone who survived the foster care system, but someone hoping to rebuild it from the inside. Back then, I'd never imagined to be standing here. We're sitting in national rooms, representing Idaho, making sure youth voice isn't just talked about, but they're listened to. And every single time I'm in one of those meetings, I think about the young people who are in care right now, sitting in placements across our state, the ones that feel like they have no voice at all and no control over their own story. And they deserve better. And because of the people in this room, things are getting better. It's the result of a community who has decided that together foster youth deserve more than survival, and they deserve a chance to thrive. So when people ask me why I stay in this work, why I travel to DC to tell Idaho's story, and why I push so hard, it's simple. Because I remember what it felt like to not be listened to. And I see that same fight in Idaho's youth today. We're raising our voices louder than ever. We're demanding safety, and we're demanding accountability. We're demanding that the systems that value the lives of children more than adult comfort or political narratives. We are not waiting to be invited into the room. We're pulling up our own chairs, and that's why Idaho's being talked about nationally. Not because we've solved it, but because our youth refuse to be silent, and our community is leading with heart, persistence, and the refusal to settle for good enough. The work that you do today will outlive you. Some young person, maybe 5, 15 years down the road, will sit in DC and say, I came from Idaho because my state believed in me. And that's the legacy that you're building. Every time you show up to a CASA training, a family visitation, a work group, a late night call with a youth who just needs reassurance, you move us forward. And Craig and I stand here because your work, the work that you pour in every single day, and that doesn't happen without the kind of community that Craig's talked about, a community that keeps showing up and learning and fighting for a better system. So Craig, let's bring this home.
Thank you, Ivy. Like I said previously, this is more than just a community. We are a family. And family doesn't stop at the doors of this room. There are children whose names that we do not know, stories we have not heard, and lives we have not reached yet. But they are not beyond the reach of what this family is capable of. Because what happens here carries forward into classrooms, into homes, and into futures we may never personally witness. It lives in the way you continue to show up, even when the work asks more of you than you thought you had to give. This is the kind of work that isn't always recognized, but it is the kind of work that changes lives. It's the kind that echoes forward, shaping not only the lives of today's children, but generations still to come. Long after none of us are in rooms like this, the opportunities created by your courage, your advocacy, and your refusal to settle when we'll still be opening doors. And young people who walk through those doors may never know your names, but they will live inside a stronger, safer world where they all have an opportunity to thrive. So thank you all for everything that you do. Thank you.